with respect to direct arm work. Hit each muscle's 3 positions of flexion with a few sets, and then move on. Don't think that more work is better. It usually isn't. With logical, recovery-oriented POF training, you have all the ammunition you need to turn your guns into cannons in the fastest time frame possible.
Your midsection is the body part that reveals to the world whether you're in or out of shape. When your stomach is flat with razor-sharp delineation, it rivets people's eyes to your physique and is hard proof that you're an energetic, athletic individual. This is the very reason that a muscular midsection is a top priority of every body-conscious person alive, man or woman. Unfortunately, most people have been missing the boat as far as abdominal training goes. The reason is that the ab's true range of motion has been ignored. For example, the standard ab crunch has been hailed as the best all-around ab developer. But once you analyze it, you'll see that it's really only half an ab movement. The full range of motion for the rectus abdominis is 30 degrees past the point at which the floor stops your movement during standard crunches. In other words, to train your abdominals through a complete range, your back must arch prior to your pulling into a contracted position. By arching, you pre-stretch your abdominals, activate the myotatic reflex, and create more force in the target muscles with each rep. This pre-stretch helps you work the muscle more efficiently and effectively, which means you get faster, more complete development with fewer sets. It also forces other midsection muscles to come into play, such as the internal and external obliques. Let's analyze the midsection structure and functions, and then construct a number of powerful ab routines you can use to chisel your midsection as quickly as possible. When we talk about abdominals, we're really focusing on the rectus abdominis. Although it looks like a number of knotty masses, it's actually one sheet-like muscle running from the bottom of the rib cage down to the pelvis. The delineated ripples are caused by tendons running horizontally and vertically, not by separate muscle structures. This muscle has 2 primary functions. 1, it pulls your rib cage down toward your pelvis, and 2, it curls your hips toward your torso. While both actions involve the entire rectus abdominis muscle, some research indicates that pulling your rib cage down tends to place more stress on the upper region, and rolling your hips up puts more emphasis on the lower area. Although these findings are debatable, they nevertheless reinforce the fact that you should work both functions for the best abdominal development possible. Another thing you should keep in mind when picking your ab exercises or movements for any body part is that while isolating the target muscle is important, you mustn't neglect synergy or muscle teamwork. Movements such as hanging knee-ups and hip curls work the abdominals with the help of the hip flexor muscles, much like squats work the quadriceps with the help of the gluteal muscles. When you include compound muscle teamwork movements, as well as isolation exercises, you get the most complete development possible as quickly as possible. Here are the key points to remember when you're constructing your ultimate ab routine. 1. Work your abs through a full range of motion. Don't neglect the back-arched position that pre-stretches the rectus abdominis. 2. Train both of the rectus abdominis functions, which include a movement that pulls your rib cage toward your pelvis, often called upper ab work, as well as one that curls your hips toward your torso, or so-called lower ab work. 3. Exercises that isolate the abs are important, but don't forget to include compound movements, those that hit the abs with the help of other muscle groups, such as the hip flexors. Armed with these 3 important tips, let's construct a number of power-packed ab-etching programs that will chisel your midsection. Routines that are so efficient, they take less than 10 minutes each to complete. Routine 1 is a weight-free routine that you can train with at home or on vacation when there's no equipment available. You only need 2 movements to cover the 3 ab training bases mentioned earlier, and the entire routine is quick and to the point. The first exercise is the lying hip curl. This exercise accomplishes 2 objectives. First, it trains the entire rectus abdominis with the help of the hip flexors. As you pull your knees toward your chest, your hip flexors and abdominal muscles work together for a powerful synergistic effect, much like your triceps, chest, and shoulders working together during a bench press. Be sure to use a slow cadence so that you don't involve momentum, and keep your hands on the floor for support. Second, when you pull your knees into your chest as you pull your hips off the floor, you're working the abs' hip curl function. You'll feel your abs contracting hard. Squeeze for a count before lowering to the starting position. The next exercise is the crunch, but with a variation that makes it much more effective than the standard version. Do the exercise while lying upside down on a couch or padded chair. Position yourself so that your lower back and hips are resting on the seat cushion, your feet are supported on the back of the chair or couch, and your upper back is hanging off the end of the seat. With nothing supporting your upper back, you can pre-stretch your abdominals prior to each crunch. Just be careful not to overstretch. As you crunch, force your hips down against the seat cushion and curl your torso so that you can squeeze your abs hard at the top. Don't do a sit-up, but slowly bend your spine as you pull your rib cage toward your pelvis. Stop when your rectus abdominis is completely contracted and hold for a count, then slowly uncurl your torso. Begin the next rep as your lower back arches slightly to pre-stretch your abs. This is one of the fastest, most effective freehand ab routines you can do. With 2 to 3 sets each of these 2 exercises, you've trained your abs through the full range of motion, worked the torso curl function and hip curl function, and hit your midsection with muscle synergy. Here's how Granite Abs Routine 1 looks. Granite Abs Routine 1, Freehand. Synergy and hip curl function. Lying hip curls. 2 sets, 8 to 10 reps each. Pre-stretch and torso curl function. Full range crunches. 2 to 3 sets, 8 to 10 reps each. To perform lying hip curls correctly, 1. Keep your legs crossed at the ankles and your knees bent. 2. Concentrate on curling your hips towards your navel as you exhale. Inhale as you lower your legs. 3. Do each rep with a 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down cadence to prevent momentum. 4. Hold for a count at the top of each rep and contract your abs. To perform crunches with lower back support correctly, 1. Lie upside down on a couch or padded chair so that your feet are supported on the back. Your hips and lower back are resting on the seat cushion, and your upper back is extending off the seat. 2. Force your hips down into the seat cushion as you pull up and exhale. 3. Focus on curling up by curving your spine. Don't sit up with a flat back. 4. When your rectus abdominis is completely contracted, hold for a count and then slowly release. If you can only do 2 or 3 repetitions of the full range crunches, do those reps, then get on the floor and continue with regular crunches until you can't manage another rep. You'll eventually get stronger so that you no longer have to resort to standard half-range crunches. Routine 2 requires 2 pieces of equipment: a slant board or flat bench raised at one end for incline knee-ups, and an ab bench for full-range crunches with resistance. The first exercise, incline knee-ups, allows you to train your abs with synergy and also hits the abs hip curl function. Remember to maintain a slow cadence to avoid momentum and hold for a count at the top of each rep. The second exercise is the crunch pull on the ab bench. This is truly a breakthrough piece of equipment that not only makes full-range abdominal work possible, but also makes it more comfortable and safer. The arched padded back support allows you to pre-stretch your abs prior to crunching down into a fully contracted position. Here's how to do the movements for best results. 1. Position the seat so that the curved back pad is in the middle of your back. 2. Recline on the bench and take a strap in each hand. 3. Arch back until your rectus abdominis is stretched and pull the straps down on your chest until you feel the weight arm raise slightly. 4. Anchor your hands on your chest. 5. Crunch down as if you were doing a crunch on the floor. 6. Continue to pull forward until your torso is perpendicular to the floor to enhance the abdominal contraction. 7. Slowly return to the start position and begin the next rep as soon as you reach maximum pre-stretch. What makes the ab bench crunch pull such a perfect midsection exercise is that it puts you into the optimal pre-stretch position before you crunch down and forward for a maximum contraction. You'll feel your entire rectus abdominis flex hard as you effectively work its torso curl function. Here's how Granite Abs Routine 2 looks. Granite Abs Routine 2. Synergy and hip curl function. Incline knee-ups. 2 sets, 8 to 10 reps each. Pre-stretch and torso curl function. Ab bench crunch pulls. 2 to 3 sets, 8 to 10 reps each. To perform incline knee-ups correctly, 1. Keep your legs crossed at the ankles and your knees bent. 2. Grip the bench or incline board next to or behind your head with both hands to maintain your position. 3. Pull your legs toward your chest and concentrate on curling your hips toward your navel as you exhale. 4. Do each rep with a 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down cadence to prevent momentum. 5. Hold for a count at the top of each rep and contract your abs. To perform ab bench crunch pulls correctly, 1. Be sure to arch back until your rectus abdominis is stretched before you execute each rep. 2. Crunch down as if you were doing a crunch on the floor and continue to pull forward until your torso is perpendicular to the floor. 3. Slowly return to the start position and begin the next rep as soon as you reach maximum pre-stretch. For Routine 3, you need a chin-up bar for hanging knee-ups and an overhead pulley setup and a low preacher bench for rope crunches. The first exercise, hanging knee-ups, is difficult to master and only recommended for advanced trainees. The key is to pull your knees into your chest as you roll your hips up toward your torso. This action focuses on the abs' hip curling function. If you can't do this with perfect form and no momentum for at least 6 reps, use either incline knee-ups or lying hip curls as a substitute. Hanging knee-ups are difficult, but your strength and form will improve quickly. Start with a slight bend in your knees and pull your thighs into your chest as you roll your hips up towards your navel. Hold for a 2 count. Back support from your training partner may help improve your form and reduce your tendency to swing. The second exercise is also somewhat difficult to master at first. It's the rope crunch with lower back support. This mimics the full-range torso curl motion you achieve with the ab bench. A low preacher bench provides the lower back support so that you can achieve that important pre-stretch. Be sure to position the preacher bench slightly out in front of the pulley setup so that you can arch and maintain tension in your abs prior to crunching down into the contracted position. Here's how Granite Abs Routine 3 looks. Granite Abs Routine 3. Synergy and hip curl function. Hanging knee-ups. 2 to 3 sets, 8 to 10 reps each. Pre-stretch and torso curl function. Cable crunches with lower back support. 2 sets, 8 to 10 reps each. To perform hanging knee-ups correctly: 1. Hang from a chinning bar and with a slight bend in your knees, pull your thighs up and into your chest. 2. As your knees approach your torso, focus on curling your hips toward your navel. 3. Do each rep with a 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down cadence to prevent momentum. 4. Hold for a count at the top of each rep and contract your abs. To perform cable crunches correctly: 1. Attach a double rope to an overhead cable and place a low preacher bench out in front of the pulley setup. 2. With a rope in each hand, sit down on the preacher bench facing away from the pulley and anchor your hands on your chest. 3. Allow your torso to curve back over the preacher bench to pre-stretch your abs, and as soon as you reach maximum stretch, crunch forward to contract your rectus abdominis. 4. Hold for a count at the top of each rep as you contract your abs. For routine 4, you need a chin-up bar for hanging leg raises and a flat bench with uprights for full-range bench crunches. The first exercise, hanging leg raises, is similar to hanging knee-ups, only you keep your legs almost straight through the entire range of motion. Once again, this is an advanced movement. If you can't do at least 6 repetitions with no swinging or momentum, substitute another hip curl function exercise. The key is to curl your hips up toward your torso as your legs go past the perpendicular point. As with the hanging knee-ups, your strength and form will improve quickly. Start with a slight bend in your knees and maintain that bend throughout the range of motion. Pull your legs up as high as possible as you roll your hips up toward your navel. Hold for a count. Back support from your training partner may help improve your form and reduce your tendency to swing. The second exercise is the full-range bench crunch. Lie backward on a flat bench press bench with your feet supported on a bar resting on the uprights. Be sure you are positioned far enough down the bench so that your upper back hangs off the end. This overhang is what gives you a full-range torso curl motion, but you must be careful not to stretch back too far. When you do this movement on the ab bench, the machine prevents you from going back too far, but here it is possible to overarch, so lie back slowly just past parallel to the floor. Once you reach the stretch position, curl your torso up and contract your abs for a count. Here's how Granite Abs Routine 4 looks. Granite Abs Routine 4. Synergy and hip curl function. Hanging leg raises. 2 sets, 8 to 10 reps each. Pre-stretch and torso curl function. Full-range bench crunches. 2 to 3 sets, 8 to 10 reps each. To perform hanging leg raises correctly: 1. Hang from a chinning bar and with a slight bend in your knees, raise your legs up in an arc until they are past perpendicular to the floor. 2. As your legs approach the highest point, focus on curling your hips toward your navel. 3. Do each rep with a 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down cadence to prevent momentum. 4. Hold for a count at the top of each rep and contract your abs. To perform full-range bench crunches correctly: 1. Lie backward on a bench press bench and position yourself so that your feet are supported on a bar across the uprights and your upper back is hanging off the end of the bench. 2. Lower slightly into the stretch position, then curl your torso up and contract your rectus abdominis. 3. Hold for a count at the top of each rep as you contract your abs. 4. You can hold a barbell plate on your chest or behind your head for more resistance, but be sure you don't use it to create momentum. 5. Use a 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down cadence. For routine 5, you need a flat bench set at an incline for 1 1/4 knee-ups and a flat bench along with a heavy barbell to hook your feet under for Roman chair crunches with low back support. The first exercise, 1 1/4 knee-ups, is exactly like incline knee-ups, only when you reach the top position, you lower only 1/4 of the way down, just until your hips touch the bench. Then you curl back up into the contracted position. That's a 1 1/4 rep. From the top of the quarter rep, you lower your legs all the way to the floor and repeat the 1 1/4 sequence. This is an advanced intensity technique, and it really forces a hard abdominal contraction, so be prepared. And don't forget that the key on this exercise is to curl your hips up toward your torso. The second exercise is the Roman chair crunch. Sit sideways on a flat bench with your feet hooked under a heavy barbell on the floor. Lean back so that your torso and thighs are on the same plane, parallel to the floor. Have your partner place a hand or knee under your lower back so that you can achieve a slight stretch in your rectus abdominis. When you reach the stretch point, curl your torso up and contract your abs. This is not a sit-up, so don't pull yourself up with a flat back. Warning, this is an advanced exercise. It's very difficult for most trainees. Here's how Granite Abs Routine 5 looks. Granite Abs Routine 5. Synergy and hip curl function. 1 1/4 knee-ups. 2 sets, 6 to 8 reps each. Pre-stretch and torso curl function. Roman chair crunches with lower back support. 2 to 3 sets, 8 to 10 reps each. To perform 1 1/4 knee-ups correctly. 1. Do the same movement as described in the incline knee-up section of Routine 2, but at the top of each rep, release only 1/4 of the way down. Curl your hips back up for another ab contraction, then lower all the way to the start position. This emphasizes the important contracted position. To perform Roman chair crunches correctly. 1. Sit sideways on a flat bench with your feet hooked under a heavy barbell. 2. Recline so that your torso is parallel to the ground, on the same plane as your thighs. 3. Have your partner place a hand on your lower back so you can slightly arch over it to reach the rectus abdominis stretch position. 4. When you reach the pre-stretch position, exhale as you curl up to contract your abdominals. Remember, this is not a sit-up, it's a crunch. 5. Hold for a count, then return to the pre-stretch position and begin another rep. Here are a few general tips to make your ab training even more effective. 1. Rest about 1 minute between sets. 2. Train your abs 2 to 3 times a week on non-consecutive days, for example, Monday and Thursday. 3. Put your ab routine at the end of your workout so your fatigued abs don't compromise the training of your other body parts. 4. Hold the contracted position of each exercise for a count for maximum rectus abdominis stimulation. 5. Never swing or use momentum on any exercise. 6. Try to feel your midsection muscles contracting on each and every repetition. 7. Don't stop a work set simply because you've reached the repetition number listed in the routine. Do as many reps as you can. Go until you can't do another with perfect form. 8. Minimize your body fat with a balanced diet and cardio work if necessary. See Iron Man's Fat to Muscle Manual for more details. Remember, you won't be able to see your midsection muscularity if there's a layer of fat covering the area. 9. You can create your own ab routines by using any hip curl function exercise along with any torso curl function exercise. Feel free to mix and match your favorite exercises from these two categories. Now you have 5 powerful routines in your training arsenal that will help you develop granite abs in record time, and none of them takes longer than 10 minutes. Incorporate one into your very next workout, and you'll be on the road to developing an attention-grabbing midsection faster than you thought possible.
rapid muscle growth. The key to it is maximum fiber recruitment. At each workout, you should use the minimum number of sets to hit the maximum number of muscle fibers in each target area. This preserves recovery ability and stimulates growth, setting the stage for a quantum leap in mass. Positions of flexion, or POF, gives you the power to accomplish this type of anabolic acceleration at each workout because it specifically defines the 3 positions, or angles, at which each muscle should be worked for super muscle fiber recruitment. This 3-position concept states that each muscle group needs 3 exercises for full, complete development, 1 for each position of flexion: the mid-range, stretch, and contracted positions. Let's begin by analyzing the quadriceps so you can reap the mass-building benefits of POF in your very next leg workout. You achieve the quadriceps stretch position when your torso and thighs are on the same plane, with your calves almost flush against your hamstrings, as in the bottom of a sissy squat. In this position, you feel a distinct pull on the target muscle. You reach the quads contracted position when your torso and thighs are at 90 degrees to each other and your lower legs are extended to contract your front thighs, as in the top of a leg extension. You work the mid-range position with any type of squatting or leg pressing exercise. Notice that you don't achieve full stretch or complete contraction during mid-range movements. Instead, you work the target muscle through more of a middle range of motion. Because mid-range movements tend to work the majority of the target body part's muscle fibers with the help of synergy, it's best to work the mid-range position first. Synergy is many muscles working together as a team, and it allows you to use maximum poundages. For example, with squats you work your quads with the help of your glutes and lower back. This is one of the reasons you can power up some impressive weights on this exercise, effectively overload the target muscle, and force the bulk of the muscle fibers to fire. After you fatigue the majority of the fibers with a mid-range movement, you then move to a stretch position exercise, like the sissy squat. With this movement, you place the quads into a complete stretch, which allows you to take advantage of the myotatic reflex, or pre-stretch phenomenon, an action that can help you recruit fibers out of reserve. In other words, you're able to pull dormant muscle fibers into the action for a more intense contraction. Getting these reserve fibers into the action is one of the keys to rapid muscle size increases. Research has shown that pre-stretch forces this reserve fiber recruitment phenomenon, which also remains in effect for the next exercise as well. Now that you've primed many of the reserve muscle fibers to contract, you move to an exercise that has resistance in the contracted position to give as many muscle fibers as possible one final growth-stimulating blast. You work the contracted position movement last in order to place the target muscle in its ultimate peak contracted or flexed state with opposing resistance. For example, with leg extensions, you engage your quads through the entire range of motion, and at the end of each rep, you get an intense, cramping contraction that squeezes the last bit of effort from the working fibers, including many reserve fibers. By working your quads mid-range, stretch, and contracted positions, you can efficiently fatigue your front thighs during each workout with fewer sets, while still covering all the angles. From a physiological standpoint, this type of efficiency of effort in the gym is the key to maximum muscle growth in a much shorter time frame. A pair of fully developed hamstrings adds tremendous width and sweep to the thighs when they're viewed from the side. Most bodybuilders use leg curls to train their hamstrings, but this is only part of the mass equation. You must work them from their 3 positions of flexion if you want total size and detail. You achieve the hamstring's mid-range position during the top 1/3 of a deadlift or stiff-legged deadlift. Here, your glutes and lower back provide the most synergy. You reach the hamstring's stretch position at the bottom of a stiff-legged deadlift. At this point, your hamstrings are completely stretched in order to activate the myotatic reflex. You achieve the contracted position of the hamstrings when your torso and thighs are on the same plane and your calves are almost flush against your hamstrings, as in the top of a leg curl. With these hamstring positions defined, you can now construct the ultimate routine to pack more size and sweep onto the back of your upper thighs. The first exercise in the POF hamstring routine is the stiff-legged deadlift. Notice that this is both a mid-range and stretch position movement. You work the mid-range at the top of this exercise and reach a full stretch at the bottom. Muscle teamwork allows you to really pile on the poundage so that you give the maximum number of hamstring fibers a sizable jolt. Plus, you get the added effect of the myotatic reflex in the stretch position, which doubles the effectiveness of the movement. This combination makes the stiff-legged deadlift a super hamstring builder. To get the most from this mid-range and stretch position exercise, keep your back flat, no rounding. This will make the exercise safer and force the hamstrings to do more work. Also, use little or no pause at the top. There is no resistance here, so pausing will only rest the target muscles. Try to keep the bar moving in a piston-like manner, 2 seconds up and 2 seconds down, and concentrate on feeling your hamstrings do the work. Initiate a quick twitch when the bar reaches the midpoint of your shins. Alternate hamstring mid-range and stretch position movements include good mornings. Remember to keep your back flat and stop the movement just before your torso is parallel to the floor. This will make the exercise safer and more effective. The second exercise in the POF hamstring routine is the lying leg curl. With this movement, you get a total contraction in the target muscle with each rep. Also, by doing this contracted position movement after you hit the stretch position with the stiff-legged deadlifts, you continue to recruit muscle fibers out of reserve. To make this contracted position exercise as effective as possible, don't raise your hips off the bench. Hold for a 2 count at the top of the movement and really flex your hamstrings. Keep your feet flexed toward your shins. Calf size helps balance well-developed quads and adds to a bodybuilder's symmetry. Big calves also give the legs a fuller appearance, creating that sought-after, powerful pillar effect. Once again, to get this type of awe-inspiring development, you must work your calves from their 3 positions of flexion. You achieve the calves' mid-range position when you curl your lower leg up with your toes pointed. The calves and hamstrings work together to power the weight up. You reach the calves' stretch position when your torso is at a 90-degree angle to your thighs and your heels are down below your shins, as they are at the bottom of a donkey calf raise. At this point, your calves reach a complete stretch due to a combination of torso angle and heel position, which allows you to activate the myotatic reflex. You achieve the calves' contracted position when your torso and thighs are on the same plane and you're up on your toes, as in the top of a standing calf raise. Let's use these positions of flexion to construct the ultimate calf routine. The first exercise in the POF calf program is the toes pointed leg curl. This is a mid-range exercise. Notice how the calves engage as you curl the weight up. The toes pointed style allows this to happen. To get the most from this mid-range position exercise, keep your toes pointed throughout the exercise. Also, there's no need to pause at the top or bottom of this movement. Remember, this is a mid-range calf exercise. The second movement in the POF calf routine is the donkey calf raise, a stretch position exercise. Keep in mind that by keeping your feet angled slightly in throughout the exercise, you enhance the pre-stretch at the bottom. To make this exercise as effective as possible, use a quick twitch at the bottom to activate reserve muscle fibers. There is no need to hold and flex at the top, as this is not a contracted position movement. Due to the 90-degree angle of your waist and legs, you don't achieve an intense contraction at the top of this exercise, at least not like you do with the contracted position exercise, which comes next. With any standing calf raise movement, you get a total calf contraction if you keep your torso upright on the same plane as your legs. Also, by doing this contracted position movement with a slight toes-out stance, you enhance the contraction at the top of each rep. To make this exercise as effective as possible, hold for a 2 count at the top of the movement and really flex your calves. Try to maintain a slight toes-out stance throughout the exercise. You must also develop the soleus muscle if you want complete lower leg size and shape. The soleus runs underneath the gastrocnemius from knee to ankle, and when it's properly developed, causes the entire lower leg to appear larger. Luckily, the soleus's mid-range position is taken care of during the toes-pointed leg curls in the gastroc routine, and the stretch position is taken care of with the donkey calf raises. That leaves the contracted position, and you use the seated calf raise to get the best soleus contraction. To make this exercise as effective as possible, hold for a 2 count at the top of each rep. Now that you have the ammunition for a POF leg-blasting assault, let's look at a radically effective POF routine that will up the mass on your quads, hamstrings, and calves. Quadriceps, mid-range, squats. 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Stretch, sissy squats. 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Contracted, leg extensions. 1 to 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Hamstrings, mid-range and stretch, stiff-legged deadlifts. 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Contracted, lying leg curls. 1 to 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Gastrocnemius, mid-range, toes-pointed leg curls. 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Stretch, donkey calf raises, or leg press calf raises. 2 sets of 12 to 18 reps. Contracted, one-leg calf raises or standing calf machine. 1 to 2 sets of 12 to 18 reps. Soleus. Mid-range, worked during toes-pointed leg curls. Stretch, worked during donkey calf raises. Contracted, seated calf raises, 2 sets of 12 to 18 reps. To construct an effective upper back attack, you should first divide the area into 2 sections: the lats, which are the wide sweeping muscles under each arm, and the mid-back, or traps, which are broad muscles that run from the base of your neck down your spine to the middle of your back. These areas tend to function somewhat independently, and each has its own 3 positions of flexion. Let's look at the lats positions first. You work your lats through their mid-range position with any type of overhead pull-down to the front or chin-up to the front. You achieve the lats stretch position when your upper arms are up next to and being pulled slightly back behind your head, as in the bottom of a pullover. You achieve total lat contraction when your arms are down next to and slightly behind your torso. You work the mid-range position first to hit the bulk of the lat fibers, so the first exercise in the POF lat routine is the front pull-down. Notice that the target muscle doesn't reach full stretch or complete contraction. There is not much stretch because the resistance is pulling your arms up, not back, as in a pullover, and the movement lacks complete contraction because the upper arms are pulling down and in from the sides. In order to get complete lat contraction, scapular rotation must occur, as in a stiff arm pull-down. To make this mid-range position exercise as productive as possible, don't lean back. Keep your torso upright so that you don't turn this movement into a rowing exercise. Pull the bar to just below your chin. Remember, this is a mid-range exercise, so the middle of the range of the motion is the most important. Also, because this is a mid-range movement, there is no reason to pause at the top or bottom. Keep the bar moving in a piston-like manner. Alternate lat mid-range exercises include front chins. Use a medium-wide grip and pull yourself up until your chin clears the bar. Then slowly lower back to the bottom. The second exercise in the POF lat routine is the dumbbell pullover. With this movement, you get complete lat stretch because your upper arms travel back behind your head. This complete stretch position for your lats allows you to take advantage of the pre-stretch phenomenon. By reversing the movement with a quick twitch in the bottom stretch position, you can involve more lat fibers, get a more powerful contraction, and stimulate more growth. To make the dumbbell pullover as effective as possible, don't pause at the bottom of each rep. You want a quick twitch at this point in order to recruit reserve muscle fibers. Retain a slight break at your elbows. This will relieve tension from your biceps and help you focus on your lats. Bring the dumbbell to a point just above your face, and then begin the next rep. This will keep the resistance on the lats constant. Alternate lat stretch position movements include barbell pullovers. Keep the bar moving. Don't rest at the top or bottom of the movement. The third exercise in the POF lat program is stiff arm pull-downs, which is a lat contracted position exercise. Really squeeze the lats hard at the bottom of each rep and feel the muscles contracting. The myotatic reflex in the previous stretch position exercise has primed reserve fibers to fire, so you'll really have to force yourself to push through the pain barrier to finish off your lats. To make this exercise as effective as possible, retain a slight break at your elbows. This will relieve tension from your biceps and help you focus on your lats. Alternate lat contracted position exercises include undergrip pull-downs. Although this isn't an isolation movement, you still get scapular rotation and effectively reach the lats contracted position. Lean slightly back during the pulling stroke to ensure total contraction. The mid-back is a difficult area to develop for many bodybuilders. This is usually due to insufficient feel or an inadequate mind-muscle link during mid-back workouts. POF solves this problem with synergy, the myotatic reflex, and peak contraction, all of which you combine to give your mid-back a blast of blowtorch intensity. You achieve the mid-back's mid-range position when you pull your arms from an overhead position down and back. As in a behind-the-neck pull-down, you reach the mid-back's stretch position when your hands are close together and your arms are perpendicular to your torso, as in a close-grip cable row or one-arm dumbbell row. You achieve total mid-back contraction when your hands are out slightly wider than your shoulders and your elbows are behind and angled up away from your torso, as in a medium-wide grip row. You achieve the most synergy during behind-the-neck pull-downs, the mid-back's mid-range movement, which means you work the bulk of the muscle with this exercise. Notice that the biceps, lats, and rear delts help the mid-back pull the bar down and back to the base of the neck. To get the most from this exercise, keep the bar moving in a piston-like manner. This is a mid-range movement, so there's no need to emphasize the top or bottom of the range of motion. Keep your elbows back to focus the majority of the stress on the mid-back. To reach the mid-back's total stretch position, choose the one-arm dumbbell row. Lower the dumbbell straight down, use a quick twitch to reverse the movement at the bottom, and keep your elbow angled slightly away from your torso. Notice that you don't achieve complete contraction at the top due to the way your torso rolls away from the dumbbell in this position. To reach complete contraction, you would need a different exercise. Wide grip cable rows hit your mid-back's contracted position. Your mid-back is now primed for maximum fiber contraction due to the myotatic reflex activation during the one-arm dumbbell rows, so you should have no trouble feeling your mid-back work. To make this exercise as effective as possible, squeeze the mid-back for a 2 count at the top of each rep. Keep your torso as upright as possible. There's no need to lean forward on the downward stroke. Due to the trap's multiple points of insertion along the spine, the upper and lower areas tend to function somewhat independently. The previous routine stressed the lower portion of this muscle group, so for complete development, you need to hit the upper area separately. Fortunately, behind-the-neck pull-downs hit the entire mid-back's mid-range position, so all that's left is the stretch and contracted positions. One exercise hits both of these crucial upper mid-back positions, and that exercise is shrugs. The bottom of this exercise activates the myotatic reflex while the top gives your traps an intense contraction. This is the perfect finishing exercise for your mid-back routine. To make this exercise as effective as possible, use a quick twitch at the bottom to activate the myotatic reflex and recruit more muscle fibers. Pause for a count of 2 at the top of each rep. Don't roll your shoulders back at the top. Your shoulder movement should be straight up and down. Now that you've seen all the positions for the lats and mid-back, let's look at the complete POF back routine. Mid-range, front pull-downs or front chins. 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Stretch, pullovers. 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Contracted, stiff arm pull-downs. 1 to 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Mid-range, behind the neck pull-downs. 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Stretch, one-arm dumbbell rows. 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Contracted, wide grip cable rows. 1 to 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Upper stretch and contracted, shrugs. 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps. Here are a few tips and suggestions to help you get the most development possible from POF. 1. Train your legs and back no more than twice a week using POF. This will keep you from overtraining these muscle groups. 2. If you split your routine, alternate the following 2 workouts with a day of rest in between. Day 1, quads, hamstrings, calves, chest, triceps. Day 2, rest. Day 3, back, deltoids, biceps, forearms, abdominals. Day 4, rest. 3. Do 2 light warm-up sets on your mid-range exercises for each body part using 50 to 70% of your work weight and 1 light warm-up set on your stretch position movements. Keep in mind that a warm muscle can contract harder than a cold one, so don't neglect these important sets. 4. Take all of your POF work sets to positive failure, to the point where another repetition in good form is impossible. This will ensure that you're overloading the muscle and stimulating growth at every workout. 5. Never do more than 24 high-intensity sets in any one workout. More than 24 sets taken to positive failure in any one workout will cause most bodybuilders to overtrain. 6. Use a phase training approach. Do 4 to 6 weeks of high-intensity training, taking every work set to at least positive failure, then back off for 2 weeks, stopping every work set 2 reps short of failure. The 2-week medium-intensity phase will allow your recovery ability to heal and prepare your muscles and your overall system for your next high-intensity phase. 7. Try aftershock training when you're ready to up your intensity level. One form of aftershock training is called isolation aftershock, and it consists of supersetting the stretch position and contracted position exercises in any body part routine. For example, for quads, do 2 sets of squats, then superset sissy squats with leg extensions. The reserve fiber recruitment you achieve with the sissy squats will more effectively carry over into your leg extensions when you superset, making the peak contraction effect much more intense. With POF, you can develop your legs into pillars of power and sculpt lats that look like wings and traps that resemble thick slabs of beef. You'll achieve full, dense quads and hamstrings, diamond-cut calves, and a wide, thick, majestic back in the shortest time frame possible. The key is to hit each muscle's 3 positions of flexion: mid-range, stretch, and contracted, with a few sets of blast furnace intensity, and then move on. Don't think that more work is better. It usually isn't. With logical, recovery-oriented POF training, you'll get explosive growth and quickly develop what every bodybuilder craves: critical mass. Positions of flexion, or POF, is a recovery-oriented training method that maximizes muscle fiber recruitment and growth. It's based on working the 3 positions, or angles, that each muscle requires for total size stimulation. This 3-position concept states that each muscle group needs 3 exercises for full, complete development, 1 for each position of flexion, the mid-range, stretch, and contracted positions. Let's take the lateral deltoid head as an example to help further explain POF. The lateral delt's stretch position is with the arm down and across your torso, as in the bottom of an incline one-arm lateral raise. In this position, you feel a distinct pull on the target muscle. The lateral delt's contracted position is with the arm up, out to the side, and slightly above 90 degrees to your torso, as in the top of a standing lateral raise. The mid-range position is any type of overhead pressing exercise, such as the behind-the-neck press. It's best to work the mid-range position first, because mid-range exercises tend to work the majority of the muscle fibers in the target body part due to what is called synergy. Synergy is many muscles working together as a team and allows you to use maximum poundages. For example, with overhead presses, you work your lateral deltoid heads with the help of your triceps and traps. This muscle teamwork allows you to overload the most target muscle fibers possible. After you fatigue the bulk of the fibers with a mid-range movement, You then move to a stretch position exercise like the incline one-arm lateral raise. With this movement, you place the target muscle into a complete stretch, which allows you to take advantage of the myotatic reflex, or pre-stretch phenomenon, an action that can help you recruit fibers out of reserve. In other words, you're able to pull dormant muscle fibers into the action for a more intense contraction. A boxer often uses this technique just before punching. He quickly draws back his fist prior to thrusting it forward in order to pre-stretch the involved muscles and achieve a more powerful punch. You get the same effect at the bottom of a stretch position movement like the incline one-arm lateral raise or one-arm cable lateral raise. Because the muscle is completely stretched, you get a more powerful contraction with each rep when you quickly reverse the movement instead of pausing. Pre-stretch is one reason working the stretch position is vital to complete development with fewer sets. Last is the contracted position, where the target muscle is placed in its ultimate peak contracted or flexed state with opposing resistance. For example, with dumbbell lateral raises, you engage the lateral deltoid heads through the entire range of motion, and at the end of each rep, you get an intense cramping contraction. You usually work this position last because full range resistance is the best way to finish off the target muscle and squeeze the last bit of effort from the working fibers. By working every muscle group's mid-range, stretch, and contracted positions, you can effectively fatigue the target muscles during each workout with fewer sets, while still covering all the angles. From a physiological standpoint, this type of efficiency of effort in the gym is the key to maximum muscle growth in a much shorter time frame. Let's analyze the deltoid and chest muscles and go through a complete POF workout for each of these muscle groups to help further explain this exciting mass-building method. The deltoid is a three-headed muscle that consists of the anterior or front head, the lateral or side head, and the posterior or rear head. Fortunately, the front and rear heads get plenty of size stimulation when you train other body parts. For example, when you do bench presses, your front delts come into play as synergists that help your pecs move the resistance. You get the same front deltoid head action during incline bench presses as well. When you do pull-downs, your rear deltoid heads bear a large share of the load. You also get rear head involvement during any type of rowing exercise. This means that you should concentrate on direct work for the lateral or side delt heads for that cannonball deltoid look, because they get minimal, indirect stimulation from other exercises. To recap, the first exercise in the POF deltoid routine is the behind-the-neck press. This is a mid-range movement because your lateral delt heads never reach full stretch or complete contraction during the movement, and you get synergy from your triceps and traps. Muscle teamwork allows you to really pile on the poundage so that you give the maximum number of lateral delt fibers a sizable jolt. To get the most from this mid-range position exercise, don't use a jerking motion or throw the weight up with momentum. This will take stress off the deltoids. Keep your reps smooth yet powerful. Also, use little or no pause at the top. There is no resistance in the top position, so pausing will only rest the target muscles. Try to keep the bar moving in a piston-like manner, 2 seconds up and 2 seconds down, and concentrate on feeling your deltoids work. Alternate mid-range position exercises include dumbbell presses. Drive the dumbbells from your shoulders overhead with your palms facing forward. Touch the inner plates together at the top and return to the starting position in a controlled manner. Remember, you want to keep pumping the dumbbells up and down with no pause at the top or bottom of the movement. The second exercise in the POF delt routine is the incline one-arm lateral raise. With this movement, you completely work the lateral deltoid head in its stretch position. This stretch occurs due to your upper arms across the torso position. At the bottom of this movement, you'll feel a strong pull on the deltoid muscles. This pull or stretch will allow you to take advantage of the pre-stretch phenomenon. Remember, this is not a bounce, but simply a quick reversal of movement in the bottom position that helps you involve more muscle fibers. To make this stretch position exercise as effective as possible, don't raise the dumbbell higher than parallel with the floor. Don't throw the weight up, and don't rest at the top or bottom of the movement. Alternate stretch position exercises include one-arm cable lateral raise. Stand far enough away from the pulley that your arm is pulled across your torso. This will give your lateral deltoid head the important pre-stretch. Don't raise the cable handle higher than parallel to the floor. Keep in mind that it's the bottom stretch position that's most important here. The last exercise in the POF deltoid routine is the lateral raise. Here you achieve total contraction of the target muscle because your upper arm is up and away from your torso at a greater than 90-degree angle. Notice that there is still resistance in the flexed position of this exercise, a prerequisite for peak contraction. This will allow you to contract the target muscle to its maximum and effectively finish off the muscle through a full range of motion. To get the most from this contracted position exercise, keep your torso leaning slightly forward. Don't tip the front of the dumbbells up or back. Try to keep them parallel to the floor at all times. Don't stop the movement short and neglect the contracted position. And hold each rep for at least a count of 1 to get the full peak contraction effect. You should use this hold and flex technique on all contracted position exercises. Alternate contracted position exercises include upright rows. Use a shoulder width grip. If this exercise is uncomfortable and causes pain in your shoulder joint, try it with dumbbells so that your hands have more freedom of movement. Here are 2 radically effective POF deltoid routines. Routine 1. Mid-range. Behind the neck presses. 2 sets, 8 to 10 reps. Stretch. Incline one-arm lateral raises. 2 sets, 8 to 10 reps. Contracted. Lateral raises. 1 to 2 sets, 8 to 10 reps. Routine 2. Mid-range. Dumbbell presses. 2 sets, 8 to 10 reps. Stretch. One-arm cable lateral raises. 2 sets, 8 to 10 reps. Contracted. Upright rows. 1 to 2 sets, 8 to 10 reps. To construct an effective pectoral building program, you should first divide the chest into 2 sections, the upper chest and the lower chest, as these areas tend to function somewhat separately due to the pectoral muscle's multiple points of insertion along the breastbone. Let's take the upper chest first and analyze its 3 positions of flexion. You work your upper pecs through their mid-range position with any type of incline pressing movement. You achieve the upper pecs stretch position at the bottom of any type of incline fly. And you achieve total upper pec contraction when you extend your arms and cross them over your upper chest. The first exercise in the POF upper chest routine is the incline press, a mid-range exercise for this muscle group. Notice that the target muscle doesn't reach full stretch or complete contraction. Also notice that you get synergy from your triceps and front deltoids during this exercise. To make this mid-range position exercise as productive as possible, drive the weight up and slightly back to a point above your eyes. This will take advantage of your natural strength curve. Touch the bar to your upper chest just below your clavicles. Also, there is no reason to pause at the top because there is no resistance at the top. Keep the bar moving in a piston-like manner. Alternate mid-range exercises include incline dumbbell presses. Touch the inner plates to your front delt head and then drive the dumbbells up to a point above your eyes and touch the inner plates together. Then lower the dumbbells back to the start position in a controlled manner. The second exercise in the POF upper chest routine is the incline cable fly. With this movement, you get complete upper pec stretch because your arms are almost straight and the resistance pulls them back behind your torso. This complete stretch position for your upper pecs places resistance on the target muscle when it's elongated, which allows you to take advantage of the pre-stretch phenomenon. By reversing the movement with a quick twitch in the bottom stretch position, you can involve more fibers, get a more powerful contraction, and stimulate more growth in the target muscle. To make the incline cable fly as effective as possible, don't pause at the bottom of each rep. You want a quick twitch at this point in order to recruit reserve muscle fibers. Retain a slight break at your elbows. This will relieve tension from your biceps and help you focus on your upper pectorals. With proper performance, incline cable flies not only completely work your upper pecs stretch position, but they also hit its contracted position due to the resistance in the top position. This is a very effective and efficient upper chest exercise because of this 2 positions in 1 effect. From the bottom stretch position, bring your arms up over your upper chest and cross them at the wrists. You'll feel a searing contraction. Hold for at least a count of 1, then lower back to the stretch position for a pre-stretch twitch before powering back up into the contracted position. Here's how your POF upper pec routine looks. Mid-range. Incline barbell presses or incline dumbbell presses. 2 sets, 8 to 10 reps. Stretch and contracted. Incline cable flies. 2 sets, 8 to 10 reps. The lower chest consists of more muscle mass and is easier to develop than the upper chest. That's why most bodybuilders should work the lower chest after their upper chest work in their pec routines. In other words, work the upper chest first. Let's analyze the lower pec's 3 positions of flexion. You work the mid-range position of your lower pecs with any type of flat or decline pressing movement. You work your lower pec's stretch position with any type of flat or decline fly. and you achieve the lower pec's totally contracted position when you extend your arms and cross them over your lower chest. POF protocol states that you should begin with the lower pec mid-range movement, which will hit the bulk of the fibers. One of the best choices is the bench press. Touch the bar to your low pec line on each rep and then drive it up and back over your eyes in order to take advantage of your natural strength curve. To get the most from this mid-range position exercise, don't bounce the weight off your chest. Let the bar lightly touch your low pec line and then ram it back to the top position. Keep your arms angled away from your torso to prevent excessive triceps involvement. And use a piston-like motion, no rest at the top or bottom. Alternate mid-range exercises include bench presses with dumbbells. Keep your arms angled away from your torso to prevent excessive triceps involvement. And use a piston-like motion, no rest at the top or bottom. To work the lower pec's stretch position, do cable crossovers. This will completely stretch your lower pectorals if you allow your arms to pull back behind the plane of your torso. You'll know you've reached this position when you feel a strong pull on your pecs. Once you hit this position, quickly reverse the movement. To get the most from this stretch position exercise, lean slightly forward. This will help your arms pull back behind your torso. Also, hold the bottom position for at least a 1 count, because like the cable flies for upper pecs, this doubles as a contracted position movement for your lower pecs as well. Once again, you get the efficiency of a 2 positions in 1 exercise when you do cable crossovers. To hit the lower pecs contracted position, hold the bottom arms crossed position for a hard flex before releasing to the stretch position. An alternate stretch and contracted lower chest exercise is decline cable flies. With this movement, you want to be sure that the decline bench is pulled slightly forward of the crossover machine so that your arms are forced down and back at the bottom. Here are 2 effective lower chest routines. Routine 1. Mid-range. Bench presses. 2 sets, 8 to 10 reps. Stretch and contracted. Crossovers. 2 sets, 8 to 10 reps. Routine 2. Mid-range. Bench presses with dumbbells. 2 sets, 8 to 10 reps. Stretch and contracted. Decline cable flies. 2 sets, 8 to 10 reps. Here are a few tips to help you get the most development possible from POF. 1. Train your chest and deltoids no more than twice a week using POF. This will keep you from overtraining these muscle groups. 2. If you split your routine, alternate the following 2 workouts with a day of rest in between. Day 1, quads, hamstrings, calves, chest, and triceps. Day 2, rest. Day 3, back, deltoids, biceps, forearms, and abs. Day 4, rest. 3. Do 2 light warm-up sets on your mid-range exercises for each body part, using 50 to 70% of your work weight, and 1 light warm-up set on your stretch position movements. Keep in mind that a warm muscle can contract harder than a cold one, so don't neglect these important sets. 4. Take all of your POF work sets to positive failure, to the point where another repetition in good form is impossible. This will ensure that you're overloading the muscle and stimulating growth at every workout. 5. Never do more than 24 high-intensity sets in any one workout. More than 24 sets taken to positive failure in any one workout will cause most bodybuilders to overtrain. And 6. Use a phase training approach. Do 4 to 6 weeks of high-intensity training, taking every work set to at least positive failure, then back off for 2 weeks, stopping every work set 2 reps short of failure. The 2-week medium-intensity phase will allow your recovery ability to heal and prepare your muscles and your overall system for your next high-intensity phase. The chest and deltoids are the torso's crowning muscles, and you must develop them to their fullest if you want to achieve maximum physical impressiveness. Size on the lateral deltoid heads will give your physique a wider look, while dense pectorals from clavicles to sternum will thicken your torso from the side and give you a commanding appearance. Hit each muscle's 3 positions of flexion: mid-range, stretch, and contracted, with a few sets of blast furnace intensity and then move on. Don't think that more work is better. It usually isn't. With logical, recovery-oriented POF training, you'll get explosive growth and quickly develop what every bodybuilder craves: critical mass.